quality of the milk and beef stems up from various processes which lead to a production of optimal conditions, taking into account the geography or climate conditions, the genetic, as well as the good food we provide to the cattle. Dairy farming starts from the beginning of the female breeding, time in which you must keep in mind the purpose of the cattle breeder, whether it is for exploitation or just for next gestation periods. In terms of production, there are two types of milking, the manual and the mechanical. The first one is the method that is colloquially used by farmers with a few cows, and the second one, and most practical one, is applied by farmers who have a greater amount of cattle. In order to obtain a quality process, it is important, of course, to take into account the following recommendations. First, the milking technique must be applied by a person skilled at this. However, for those who don't have enough knowledge, it is recommended that you start the process with cows that are not so young, as these are more restless and they can get stressed more easily. Second one, hygiene is of great importance in any of these processes for both sanitizing the hands or utensils for milking and in order to disinfect the odor of the heifers. Third, to rule out the presence of mastitis, it is recommended to milk the first milk streams in another bowl in order to add detail to the dairy. Fourth, it is also recommended to milk the cow 2 or 3 times, or more precisely, every 12 hours. This in order to obtain a greatest yield of milk. Fifth, to stimulate the secretion of the oxytocin hormone, one should carry out the procedure of pre-sealing and drying the nipples. Seventh, it is important to keep it at cold temperatures for its better preservation. Eighth, we cannot forget that appropriate nutrition and hydration levels are fundamental for a cow to be standing on its own enough time for closing the sphincters of the teats, and this way you can reduce the risk of infection when the cow is moved to the corral. From the process of gestation, birth and care will depend on you to get or not quality products and aims previously set on each of the producers. Likewise, to be the flesh one of the most consumed products by human beings, we must take into account safety precautions on the diet of the animal, as these may affect the meat. It must meet the quality criteria standards imposed by the Colombian Agricultural Institute, where it is important to highlight the following suggestions. First, within the diet of cattle, you should not use food or supplements containing blood, meat, or bones. Second, the water destined for the cattle must be endorsed by the ICA registration and the quality criteria. Third, it is important to control the temperature conditions and humidity during the process of storaging food and harvested products used when feeding the animals. Animal welfare also plays a very important role in the conservation and quality of the meat industry, so that we must have in mind that the premises are provided with the necessary conditions regarding the water regulations and hygiene. At the same time, we have to reduce or avoid stress and injuries in terms of the instrumentation used in milking, deworming, and any other process that you have to do to the cattle.